Tasha Greene was seconds away from everything she'd fought for. 4 years of struggle, countless sleepless nights, a full-ride scholarship she protected like gold. And now she was valedictorian, the first in her family to graduate college. But she was also hiding something no one in that auditorium knew: a pregnancy, 7 months along. And the father, Dr. Marcus Hale, her professor, a man with power, charm, and a whole fiancé, Dean Cassandra Vaughn. As the crowd roared, Tasha walked toward the podium, her steps wobbling under the pressure and the weight she could no longer hide. She tightened her gown, praying no one noticed. Marcus stood at the faculty row, stone-faced. He hadn't looked at her in weeks, not since she refused to handle it. But Tasha wasn't going to disappear. Not now. She had worked too hard. She had sacrificed everything. "I stand before you today," she began, her voice shaking. Then her vision blurred. Heat rushed through her. Her knees buckled. She collapsed mid-sentence. Screams echoed. Cameras flashed. And in the chaos, a deep voice yelled out, "Call an ambulance, now." Marcus, he rushed to her side, kneeling, his hand on her belly. "Tasha, stay with me," he whispered. The crowd went silent as whispers spread. "Is she pregnant? Did that professor just—" Cassandra, watching from the front row, stood frozen. Her eyes locked on Marcus, her fiancé, kneeling beside a student, his hand protectively cradling her stomach. The pieces started falling into place. As Tasha was loaded onto the stretcher, the dean stepped onto the stage and took the mic. And in front of the entire graduating class, she asked one question. "Dr. Hale, do you have something to confess?" Marcus Hale's heart slammed against his chest as all eyes turned to him. He was a respected professor, engaged to the dean, and now standing over a student who was clearly pregnant, a student he'd once been seen mentoring alone. Frequently, he stood up slowly. "Cassandra," he started. "Don't," she said, her voice slicing through the silence. "Answer the question." 1,000 phones were out, recording, streaming, whispering. Tasha groaned from the stretcher, trying to sit up. "Don't let them take me to county," she whispered to the paramedic. "Take me to Mercy. My OB's there." Cassandra heard that. "OB?" Her eyes narrowed. "How far along are you?" she asked Tasha coldly. Marcus stepped in. "That's enough, Cassandra. So it's true." Her voice cracked. "You slept with her." The crowd gasped. Tasha's breath hitched. She turned her head toward Marcus. "Tell them. Say it." He looked at her, this young woman he never meant to fall for. He thought he could control it, keep things quiet, finish out the semester, but now everything was blowing up. "I never meant to hurt anyone," he said quietly. "But yes, the baby is mine." The room exploded. Students screamed. Faculty whispered. A camera crew from the local news ran toward the stage, mic first. Cassandra's hand trembled as she yanked the mic cord from the podium. Her eyes didn't blink. "You used me to climb this school's ladder," she hissed, "and then you got a student pregnant?" "It wasn't like that," Marcus said, stepping toward her. You and I are done." The paramedics wheeled Tasha out the side door, sirens already blaring in the parking lot. Marcus tried to follow, but Cassandra grabbed his arm. "You walk out that door," she said. "You lose your job, your reputation, everything." He looked at her, then he looked at the door, and he chose. He ran after Tasha. Outside, Marcus climbed into the ambulance, but just before the doors shut, a man ran up, camera in hand. "I'm with Channel 4. Is it true a Harrington professor impregnated a student?" The paramedic paused, and the camera rolled. By sunrise, the video had 10 million views. Professor Baby Daddy was trending on Twitter, TikTok, and every gossip blog from Atlanta to LA. Harrington University, known for its prestige and excellence in ethics, was now the internet's favorite scandal. Clips of Tasha collapsing, Marcus whispering beside her, Cassandra calling him out on stage. All of it, every second, was looped, dissected, and memed. Tasha lay in a hospital bed, staring at the ceiling, her phone vibrating off the table with messages she was too afraid to open. Her roommate had sent, "Girl, it's everywhere. People are calling you the pregnant prodigy." Marcus hadn't left her side. He sat in the corner chair, face buried in his hands. "I ruined everything," he muttered. "I should have walked away before it started." "You didn't ruin it," Tasha said, voice raspy. "I knew what I was doing." "Yeah, but I was supposed to be the adult." Silence. The hospital room door creaked open. It was Cassandra. Tasha sat up fast, heart pounding. What are you doing here?" Cassandra walked in slowly, heels clicking like judgment. I came to say congratulations, she said flatly. You've made history. Tasha's stomach flipped. If you're here to... Cassandra held up a hand. Don't worry, I'm not here to throw punches. I'm here to clean up the mess. Marcus stood. Cassandra, don't what? She snapped. Speak the truth. This university is under a microscope now. You've put everything at risk. I already said I'll resign. Oh, you will, but it won't be that simple. She turned to Tasha. You've still got 2 finals left to finish your degree. Do them online. No need to return to campus. You're officially banned from all school events, including graduation. What? Tasha's voice cracked. You're punishing me? I'm protecting this institution. I'm saving your diploma. Be grateful. Tasha's jaw clenched. You just mad your man chose me. That landed hard. Cassandra's nostrils flared, but she smiled bitterly. Enjoy your 15 minutes, she said, because once it's over, you'll see who he really is. She walked out, slamming the door behind her. Marcus sighed, stepping toward Tasha. I'll fix this. But Tasha stared at him differently now. Something had cracked. Later that night, as Marcus stepped outside to take a call, Tasha grabbed his coat from the chair, and his phone dropped out. It buzzed, a text from a number she didn't recognize. You said you'd take care of it. She's still pregnant. What now? Her heart stopped. What now? Tasha stared at the text message. You said you'd take care of it. She's still pregnant. What now? Her fingers trembled as she unlocked Marcus's phone. The contact was saved under J. No last name. No photo. Her chest pounded. She scrolled up through the message thread. She's not going to say anything, right? She promised. You better pray. If Cassandra finds out, we're both done. I know, I'm handling it. Like you handled her last time? Tasha's mouth went dry. Last time? The room spun. She dropped the phone back in his coat pocket and laid down fast as she heard the door open. Marcus stepped in, holding a cup of hospital coffee. Everything okay? She smiled weakly. Yeah, just tired. She didn't sleep a second. The next day, Tasha requested early discharge. She told Marcus she wanted space and didn't need a ride. As soon as she got to her dorm, she started digging. Jay? Who was Jay? She started with the faculty directory. No Jays stood out. Then she searched Marcus's social media. Nothing. His page had been deleted. She called his teaching assistant from last semester, Janaya. Hey, can I ask you something off the record? Tasha asked. Girl, I already know. You and Dr. Hale? That's the talk of campus. I need to know who else he's been with. Janaya paused. You should talk to Janine Vaughn. Wait, Vaughn? Like Dean Cassandra Vaughn? Her niece. She's a grad student. Real close to Marcus. Like, real close. Tasha's mind raced. That's the J. And the worst part, if Marcus was messing with both her and the dean's niece, this went deeper than a one-time mistake. Tasha texted Marcus, we need to talk, now. He came by her dorm that evening. She didn't let him in. Who's Janine? She asked through the crack in the door. His face drained. Tasha, let me explain. Just tell me the truth. Marcus looked down. She was before you. I ended it months ago. It was nothing serious. Then why was she texting you about me, saying you promised to handle it? What does that mean? He ran his hand over his face. I didn't mean for this to happen like this. You're a walking scandal, Tasha snapped. You didn't just lie to me. You dragged me into a mess I cannot clean up. She slammed the door and cried, harder than she ever had. The next morning, a white envelope slid under her door. Inside was a letterhead from Harrington University Board of Ethics. She was being summoned for a formal disciplinary hearing for violating faculty-student conduct policy. Tasha sat outside the wood-paneled conference room, her hands folded tightly in her lap. Her heart thudded against her chest, and her stomach rolled with nerves. Across from her sat an assistant from the ethics board, stone-faced, clipboard in hand. No one had explained what exactly they were accusing her of, just that her relationship with faculty required immediate review. The door opened. Miss Greene, we're ready for you. Inside sat 5 people. At the head of the table was Dean Cassandra Vaughn, of course. Tasha took a slow breath and stepped in, standing behind the single chair facing the committee. This is a preliminary inquiry, one woman said, reading from a sheet. Miss Greene, you're here because of allegations regarding an inappropriate relationship with a faculty member, Dr. Marcus Hale. Please confirm, were you, at any point, in a personal relationship with Dr. Hale? Tasha didn't flinch. Yes, a murmur rippled across the room. Cassandra's eyes didn't leave her. Were you aware, the woman continued, that relationships between students and faculty, while not always prohibited, are subject to full disclosure and must be reported? No one told me that, Tasha replied, and he never said anything about it either. Cassandra finally spoke. Miss Greene, would you describe this relationship as consensual? Tasha looked straight at her. Yes, but that doesn't make what he did right. Please clarify. Tasha's voice rose slightly. I wasn't the only student he was seeing. I found out he was involved with someone else too, a grad student named Janine Vaughn, your niece. The room fell dead silent. Cassandra blinked slowly. I have proof, Tasha added, pulling a printed copy of Marcus's messages from her folder. She handed it to the board member. They skimmed it. Then all eyes turned to Cassandra. This is the first I'm hearing of this, she said quietly. I recuse myself from this hearing effective immediately. She stood and walked out. Tasha exhaled, shaking. The board chair turned to her. We'll reconvene next week with a formal recommendation. In the meantime, you're not suspended, but your eligibility to graduate is currently under review. Tasha blinked, stunned. So, I might not graduate? It depends on what we find. As Tasha stepped out into the hallway, a student reporter shoved a mic in her face. Miss Greene, did Dr. Hale pressure you into the relationship? Are you planning to sue the university? Tasha froze. Before she could speak, someone pulled her aside. It was Janine Vaughn. You're not the only one he lied to, Janine said, eyes flashing. You want to take him down? I'll help you. Tasha sat across from Janine Vaughn in the back booth of a low-key cafe just off campus. No makeup, hoodie on, hair in a bun. The two women couldn't have looked more different, but they had one thing in common now: Marcus Hale. Janine sipped her iced coffee like it was nothing. He told me he loved me, she said flatly, that we were building something, that Dean Vaughn was just for show, connections, power. Tasha blinked. Wait, he was dating you and engaged to Cassandra? Janine nodded. And then he started acting weird, said he needed space, that the dean was getting suspicious. I backed off. Next thing I know, I see you on TikTok with a baby bump and him whispering sweet nothings. Tasha rubbed her forehead. This is insane. I've got screenshots too, Janine said, pulling out her phone. Texts, photos, voicemails. You want to blow his career up? I'm down. But I can't go public, Tasha said. They're already trying to block my diploma. Janine smirked. Then don't go through the school. Go above them. How? Simple. Title IX. You file a complaint, not with the university, with the Department of Education. Let the feds investigate him. If they find a pattern, it's game over. Tasha sat back, stunned. You really want to help me? Janine's smile faded. Girl, I lost a whole fellowship because of him. Told me to wait a year so things wouldn't look suspicious. Now I'm out here scrambling while he's living double lives. Tasha nodded slowly. All right, let's do it. 2 days later, Tasha sat at her laptop, submitting the Title IX complaint. She attached the texts, screenshots, and everything Janine had forwarded. It felt like stepping off a cliff. As soon as she hit submit, she got an email confirmation. And 20 minutes later, a cease and desist letter landed in her inbox. From Marcus's lawyer, threatening to sue for defamation. Tasha's hands shook as she called Janine. He's trying to scare you, Janine said. That's all it is. He's bluffing. But what if he's not? I don't have money for lawyers. You're not alone. I know a reporter. Real one. If this story gets big enough, the school can't ignore it. You just have to stay loud. That night, Tasha got a DM from a verified account. I saw your story. You're not the first girl he's done this to. Call me. Attached was a photo. Marcus, smiling, holding a baby, and standing next to him, a woman who wasn't Cassandra, or Janine, or Tasha. Tasha's fingers trembled as she stared at the photo on her phone. Marcus, holding a baby. Beside him, a woman with deep brown skin and long locks stood smiling, comfortable, familiar, like she belonged there. The message under the photo, that's my sister, and her baby. Marcus is the father. Call me. Tasha tapped the number. A woman answered on the second ring. This Tasha? Yeah, who is this? I'm Renee. My sister, Camille, was with Marcus 5 years ago. Had a baby. He swore he'd leave the dean for her. Sound familiar? Tasha's mouth went dry. You're saying Marcus has a whole other child? Yup, he was living a double life back then, too. Camille found out he was engaged to someone at the university, lost it, and moved back to North Carolina with the baby. That man hasn't sent a dime since. Tasha sat down hard. Renee kept going. She tried to warn people, went to the university. They shut her down, covered it up. Tasha's mind reeled. Do you think she'd talk to me? She's not the same since. But maybe if she knows you're fighting back, she'll speak up. The next morning, Tasha and Janine FaceTimed Camille. She looked tired, worn out. But when she saw Tasha's belly, something shifted. Let me guess, Camille said. He promised he'd leave her? That you were different? Tasha nodded. He's a manipulator, Camille said. He knows how to find women who want better. Then he convinces you he is better. Tasha leaned in. Do you have any proof? Camille disappeared off screen, came back with a shoebox. Inside, photos, letters, paternity test results, and an email chain from the Harrington legal office. Per our agreement, Mr. Hale's relationship with Miss Camille Rogers is to remain confidential. In exchange, we will not pursue dismissal at this time. Wait, Janine said. They knew? Camille nodded. Marcus is protected. He brings in grant money, books, prestige. They don't care what he does to women like us. That changed everything. Now it wasn't just about Tasha, it was about all of them. They uploaded everything. Emails, texts, pictures to a shared drive. Janine sent it to the reporter friend. Tasha drafted a public statement. They were going full exposure. That night, as Tasha was editing her video statement, her phone buzzed. Blocked number, she answered. Tasha, it's Marcus. Her whole body tensed. You don't know what you're doing, he said. You're making enemies you can't afford. Tasha swallowed. Is that a threat? No, he said coldly. It's a warning. Tasha clicked post. The video went live. Hi, my name is Tasha Greene. I'm a senior at Harrington University, and I'm 7 months pregnant with the child of Dr. Marcus Hale, a tenured professor. This isn't just about an affair. This is about manipulation, abuse of power, and a system that knew and stayed silent. The clip showed photos of texts, voice notes, Camille's evidence, Janine's screenshots, the cease and desist letter, and even blurred footage of the collapse at graduation. By noon, it had 400,000 views. By 6 p.m., 1.2 million. And that's when everything broke. Major news outlets picked it up. Expose Hale started trending. Former students came forward with anonymous stories, some dating back a decade. The comments were wild. This man got a whole side family like he's in a BT drama. I knew he was shady when he asked me to stay after class alone. Where's the university in all this? Janine's reporter friend dropped the bombshell next. A full article, the professor, the dean, and the silent students of Harrington. It quoted Camille's old legal agreement, the university's refusal to act, and multiple unnamed sources confirming Dr. Hale had been quietly investigated before, but protected. Meanwhile, the university stayed quiet. Too quiet, until someone leaked the internal memo. Tasha opened her phone and nearly dropped it. Harrington Board of Trustees. As of this morning, Dr. Marcus Hale is placed on administrative leave pending Title IX investigation. We are coordinating with federal investigators to assess compliance. It was happening. He was falling. That night, Tasha walked outside for air. Cameras had already started camping outside her dorm. She pulled her hoodie low and kept moving, slipping into the back of a black SUV parked at the corner. Inside was Camille and Janine, and a woman in a sharp pantsuit with a briefcase. I'm Vanessa Price, the woman said, civil rights attorney. I represent women exploited by academic institutions. You're here for me? Tasha asked. I'm here for all of you. Vanessa opened her laptop. We can build a case, federal complaint, media backing, public pressure, but you need to understand, once we file, it won't stop. They'll try to discredit you, dig up dirt, maybe even offer you hush money. Tasha didn't blink. I'm not scared, Vanessa smiled. Good. They went through the documents line by line. Janine had her emails, Camille had her gag order, Tasha had the pregnancy, and soon they would have the power. As Vanessa packed up to leave, her phone buzzed. She checked it, then looked at Tasha. The university just released a statement. She turned the screen. We are deeply troubled by these allegations. Effective immediately, Dean Cassandra Vaughn is placed on indefinite leave. What? Tasha gasped. What does she have to do with it? Vanessa frowned. She may have helped cover it up. Tasha's phone blew up the second Cassandra Vaughn's name hit the headlines. The dean was being investigated now for failure to report misconduct, potential suppression of complaints, and conflict of interest involving faculty oversight. In just a week, the Queen of Harrington had fallen, but Tasha wasn't celebrating. She was pacing her dorm room, heart racing. Because when the powerful fall, they don't fall alone. Marcus still hadn't spoken publicly, but he had lawyers, PR teams. Silence was his strategy, but silence could also mean something bigger was coming. Janine texted, "Check the forums. He's fighting back." Tasha opened the Harrington online student group. Marcus speaks. The headline screamed across the screen. It was an open letter. "To my students and colleagues, I am devastated by the rumors and lies being circulated. I had a brief relationship with a consenting adult. The claims about misconduct are false. I never abused my power, and I never harmed anyone. I am a man of integrity, and I will clear my name." Tasha's blood boiled. Janine called instantly. "He's playing the victim. He's trying to control the narrative," Tasha said. "We need to finish this." That night, Camille sent over an old audio file she found in her emails, a recording from 5 years ago. Marcus's voice. "They can't prove anything. As long as you stay quiet, I'm good. You'll get what I promised." Blackmail, Vanessa said the moment she heard it. "This is gold." Janine was already editing the video for a final drop. Evidence, audio, statements, every lie exposed in full. The next day, the women met in a rented co-working space downtown. Vanessa clicked play on the final video. Tasha's voice opened it. "This is the truth. No spin, no PR team, just receipts." Then came the photos, the text messages, Camille's paternity test, Janine's screenshots, audio of Marcus lying, the NDA with the university logo. And finally, the faces of every woman brave enough to go on camera. Tasha looked into the camera. "We're not perfect, but we were targeted. We were used. And this school let it happen. Harrington doesn't need better PR. It needs a new heart." They posted the video across all platforms. Within hours, it reached 3 million views. The story hit national TV. Vanessa's law firm filed the federal lawsuit. By sundown, Harrington issued a press release. Dr. Marcus Hale has officially resigned. An external investigation is underway. We are reviewing all prior complaints for misconduct. They were burning it all down. Cliffhanger. Just when it seemed like things couldn't go further, a journalist emailed Tasha. "We uncovered financial records linked to a hidden university fund, money paid out to silence past complaints. This may go deeper than Marcus Hale. Call me. This could take down the entire board." 2 months later, the air was warm, the sky clear, and the Harrington Auditorium was packed again. But this time, it wasn't just about honor rolls and degrees. It was about redemption, justice, change. Tasha stood in line wearing a cap and gown that actually fit. Her baby bump was gone, replaced by a carrier slung across her front with a sleeping newborn inside. Her daughter, Nyla. She wasn't hiding anymore. Across the way, Camille sat with Janine and Vanessa in the front row, proudly waving a handmade sign. "We believe Tasha." And behind them, cameras, because this ceremony was being streamed live. Every platform, every news outlet. It was bigger than just a graduation now. It was a reckoning. Since the video dropped, Marcus had disappeared from public view, resigned, no lawsuit filed, no public statement, just gone. Cassandra? Still under investigation. 3 other board members had quietly stepped down, and the Department of Education was deep into its probe of Harrington's Title IX violations. Laws were changing, policies were tightening. Whispers of a new leadership era were already echoing through the halls. And Tasha? She'd gotten her degree. The university had no choice after the public pressure. Vanessa made sure they followed every legal step, this time. As her name was called, the crowd stood. Not just because she graduated with honors, but because she'd survived. She walked the stage slowly, baby Nyla snug against her chest, her robe fluttering in the breeze. No collapsing, no secrets, just truth. She took her diploma from the interim dean, smiled into the camera, and raised the degree high above her head. Later, in a quiet corner of the quad, Tasha sat on a bench, rocking Nyla while Janine and Camille joined her. "I can't believe you actually walked the stage," Janine said, "after everything." "I almost didn't," Tasha admitted, "but then I realized this isn't just for me." She looked down at Nyla. "This is for every girl who got shut up, shut out, or shut down. Camille wiped a tear. You didn't just graduate, you exposed a whole machine. Tasha smiled. Now let's burn the rest of it down. As they laughed and took selfies, Vanessa walked up holding her phone. Y'all aren't going to believe this, she said. What? Tasha asked. They just filed criminal charges against Marcus Hale, witness tampering, coercion, and fraud. There's a warrant out for his arrest. Tasha blinked. He ran? Vanessa nodded. He's missing, but the feds are involved now. Tasha looked out at the graduation stage one more time. She smiled. He can run, but we already won. Wow, what a ride. If you enjoyed this twist-filled journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Stories by Laine for more unforgettable drama and surprises. And before you go, tell us, what would you have done if you were in Tasha's situation? Hit that notification bell so you never miss a story that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. Thanks for watching, and remember, twists you will not see coming await in every chapter.